So I've read the comments, a couple comments here and there, of people saying, hey Jimmy, your tone sounds good, but the playing is mediocre. And I'm like, they're not wrong. I've been on YouTube for almost 4 years coming up, and sometimes it's hard to think of something new to play, especially when I'm not an excellent guitar player to begin with. I just play chords most of the time, and I bank on my good tone to get me through.
Good looks.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. But today we have Spencer Cormany from Leading Worship Well. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, and you're here to teach me something.
I'm here to fix all of your problems. You know, Jimmy, I've been on YouTube for 4 years as well.
That's right.
And I did not run out of new things to play because I made 100 advanced guitar tutorials for worship songs, and I did them all on solo acoustic guitar. So maybe Jimmy will link that playlist down in the description below, and you can learn how to take what I'm going to teach Jimmy today and apply it to an actual song, because we're just going to be going over some concepts today that I think can maybe, I don't know, you might already know some of these things, but I think it'll unlock some things. Break you out of your...
It'll definitely help them. I think it'll help you all.
It'll help you. It won't help Jimmy.
It'll definitely help me.
It'll help Jimmy.
I will say that today's video is sponsored by the Expanse Pack, the Helix Expanse Pack specifically, because we are running through the same preset. This is actually the electric plus electric stereo preset, but I adapted it to accept an acoustic guitar and an electric. Same preset through the Helix. Awesome. So go check it out. If you don't know about the Expanse Pack, it's an ever-growing collection of presets. You only have to pay once. Did you know?
Genius.
Pay once, but you get free updates for life. So go check it out. Link down below. So what are we doing?
So I want to teach you, Jimmy, 3 foundational principles about advanced guitar chords. And maybe for your audience, I should just explain what an advanced guitar chord looks like in my mind, because that's sort of an arbitrary thing to say. Okay. But essentially, and this is, I think it's more for acoustic players, but the more that I think about it, like, I think it really is like me playing acoustic in a way that maybe an electric player would play electric, because what I do opens up a lot more of the sonic space than what most acoustic players do. So to contrast the advanced guitar chords, let's talk about beginner guitar chords real quick, just so you know what my basis for that is, right? So we've got like our G down here, right? You're playing like your G to your C to an E minor, right? Just like standard stuff to a D. That's what everybody learns on, all right? Now, those chords aren't bad in and of themselves, but I want to show you at least start the process of moving from this G to this D to this E minor to this C to this G to this D.
I want to know that.
Same chords, but we've switched the voicings around. And so I want to teach you how to get to those voicings in the easiest way, because there's 2 ways you can do it. You can memorize all the voicings, or you can just learn some principles and get there on your own. So let's talk about the first principle, and this is how I view guitar chords. I have basically these bottom 3 strings, and then these top 3 strings that I'm looking at. So the bottom 3 strings, really probably the bottom 2 strings, are like my bass notes. So in my mind, and I know what I'm going to explain in this video is like not music theory nerd stuff. So if you're watching this and you're a music theory nerd, save your comments for yourself or leave them below, and you can tell me how stupid I am. But this is how I think through things in my head. So whenever it comes to looking at what chord am I playing, I think, what is the bass note? Because typically on guitar, whatever the bass note is whatever chords you're going to be playing. So let's use these E shapes that I know that you already know. We've got our E here. And then to get our A, if we're thinking bass notes, what can we do? Well, we want an A chord. So usually I keep like these top 3 or 4 strings, I keep my fingers in the same place. And so all I need to do to get to an A chord is do what? I need to add an A note in the bass.
I know where an open A is.
There you go.
There you
so
go.
What do you do?
Open it up.
Lift your finger up. Yep. There's that. Now, if you want to look crazy but actually play the same thing, you just stretch it out, and now you're like, now I'm an advanced guitarist.
Oh man, I feel better already.
There you go.
Yes.
Now, What other
Just
chords
hold my
do we
guitar like
need?
this.
In the key of E, what do we need?
We need
We
B
need two
and
more.
C sharp minor.
So where's our B chord? If that was our A, what do we need?
Man,
we need a B note, right?
B is a whole step up from A.
There you go. So 7th fret. And that's more like a B suspended, but I just consider it a B chord. And then where's the C sharp for our C sharp minor? Right here.
Right above it, yeah.
Now, I know that you probably, or you might already know those chords, but this is just the principle that we can take and apply. And I wanted to use like simple chords. Like a lot of people know those open E chords. So let's just play through those real quick. So we got our E to an A. We just lift up our finger to a B. C sharp. Right? Like super simple.
Yeah.
And if you play that instead of trying to look like the beginner who's playing E chords and you're like, everybody knows those chords.
Yeah.
So whenever we play like these out of the box chords, even though these aren't like super crazy yet, it just says like, I know something a little bit different.
So the key thing that I'm learning at this point is that you can find those bass notes in other places to help you out.
So let's do that now, because most people know, or a lot of people know, those E chords that I just played. Let's take that concept and just apply it to like,
don't say F.
Let's say C chords.
C chords,
right?
yes.
Or actually, let's do G chords, because I want to start teaching you some of these up here since you were so wowed.
I was wowed.
All right, so first of all, we need like a starting chord shape. And so if we used the caged concept where you take like a caged is just like, we're either going to take a C chord, which is the C encaged, A, which is the A encaged, so on and so forth. We just take those shapes and we can move them around the guitar and find new chord shapes. So we start with our C chord down here. And then since we want this to be a G chord, we're going to move it up to the 10th fret of the A string, which is a G. And now we have a G chord. So there's your G chord. And now we take that same concept that we just talked about.
The bass notes.
The bass notes. And so what chords do we need in the key of G?
D and E minor.
And C.
And C. Did we just start with C?
Well, we aren't gonna, the thing is we aren't gonna move it down there. So we're gonna find a C up here where I'm at already. So we've got our G chord. How do we get to a D chord? And because that's like a D suspended, I'll drop this down to the 7th fret of the B string.
Oh shoot, that's advanced.
Right, something like that. And I lift my middle finger up. Right?
But keep it curved so you don't flick people off.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. This is advanced, so learn it.
Now, let's go to like an E minor.
Yeah.
And so let's go back to the G chord real quick, which is right here. And now, where's our E note?
E. E is here.
Yeah, so just hit that. So hear how that, like, here's a G chord, turns into an E minor. Because E and G chords have like, or E minor and G chords have like pretty much similar notes in them. So, then we got our E minor. And then for the C, where's a C note at?
Right behind the D.
Right, so how are we going to get there?
Oh.
This is advanced.
This one's advanced.
I learned this one from John Mayer.
Oh, are we doing thumb stuff?
Thumb.
Oh man,
Thumb stuff. Can you get that?
I got, what am I?
And that's like a C major 7 or something.
I'm not a thumb holder. How much do I owe you if I fail?
Oh, you got the 8th fret. There you go.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now we have our G chord, right? The bass note to a D. We go back to the E minor, to a C with the thumb.
Yeah.
And the whole point of this is just to open up different opportunities for you to think about stuff. Because if you're not thinking about different chords, then you're just always down here.
Yeah. Cowboy chords, as they call them.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, I also want to say there's nothing wrong with playing those chords in and of themselves. Like if you're playing in a full band context, you don't need to play all these crazy chords that I'm playing. Yeah. But if you're playing acoustic guitar by yourself, or you want to impress people on YouTube, then you play chords like this.
Or your girlfriend.
Or your girlfriend.
Or maybe there's multiple acoustic guitars.
Or that, yes, and you can play different chord voicing. So somebody can be down here, and I can be up here, and that way you have this whole sonic section of the guitar covered, and it's not all.
And it's more interesting. It's more musical. Yeah. And I found that like the less people playing those like low cowboy chord bass notes, usually not exactly the same time, the less muddy it is.
Now, I also don't play electric, but I'm sure that this could be applied to electric because electric players are always trying to find different chord voicings like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, first thing we learned. Move the bass note around. Find just whatever chord shape you want. Figure out what chord it is, and then figure out the bass notes that you can use to make them different chords. And all you're doing is like moving 1 or 2 fingers around.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Let's move on to number 2 now. And this kind of goes sort of in the same vein of what we just talked about covering different sonic spectrums, but whenever I'm doing the advanced guitar covers, it's just me on solo acoustic. So I'm trying to think of not just how do I play the chords of the song, but how do I play them in an interesting way that makes the arrangement interesting. And how do you make an arrangement interesting? You focus on dynamics. So when a lot of beginner guitarists think about dynamics, they're thinking, I need to strum harder or I need to strum softer. And that is definitely part of it. But it's also the chord shapes, because listen to this G chord down here, which I'm going to play like nice and big. Like this is a super open G chord. And here is another G chord. I'm strumming them the same volume. One just, I'm playing like every string on the guitar, and one of them I'm only playing 3 strings at a time.
A lot less volume.
And it's up higher on the guitar. So the principle in this is, if you're like in a loud part of a song and you really want it to sound loud, there's two parts to the dynamic principle that I think about. If you want it to be louder, you move it down further on the neck because those are going to be lower notes and bring more energy to the song. You also want to play more notes and separate them as much as you can. So I could play a G chord like this, and it's still kind of closed off, but if I, boom, hit that, listen to this one now. So there's a difference there between, because now instead of just covering this sonic area of the sound spectrum, I'm like all the way up here. There's like a low G note and a pretty high B note up there. And if you view music in terms of that sonic space, because this is what producers do whenever they arrange songs, they're not just thinking like, is this guy playing the right chords? They're thinking, how am I going to arrange these chords in a way that makes the sonic spectrum be filled up if I want it to be filled up? Or if I don't want it to be filled up,
what can you do?
What am I going to take away and shrink that sonic spectrum?
Right.
So really, if you start thinking in frequencies, it's just like, the lower the frequency, typically the more energy it has. The higher, the airier it's going to be. So we've got that down there. If you want it to sound nice and full, you go down there. If you want it to sound nice and light, I usually come up here to the 10th fret and hit one of these chords right here. This 10th fret of the A string, open G string, 12th fret of the B. So you could be playing like, I don't know, and this is a movable shape, which is nice because I can just move it like, here's the G chord, I'll bring it down to the 5th fret, once again thinking bass notes. Bass notes, right? D. There's your D note, so there's our D chord, and then we'll move it down one more to C. 3rd fret is a C, and then we could do an E minor right here.
Just remember to
flat the 3rd.
Flat the 3rd.
Flat the 3rd. So now we could go to D, C, E minor, one more time, and then we'll open it up with normal chords. Now let's open it up with regular G chords. D, E minor, to a C. So there, like Jimmy and I, we weren't playing any different volume, which we could have. You can throw in palm muting, you can throw in like hard strumming if you're on electric, you can kick on an overdrive or whatever. And these are all just different tools that we have in our toolbox to add dynamics to the song.
Yeah.
So now we can stack on, I like to click buttons with my feet like Jimmy, so I'm going to hit the overdrive, or I'm going to hit, I don't know, do you throw like a reverb or something on if you want it to sound fuller?
Yeah.
Delay,
some delay.
Right? Like these are all options in our toolbox. But as we know, where does our tone come from, Jimmy? Our fingers. It starts here. So this is why I like to start here. This is like the fundamental stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got bass notes to focus on. We've got the position. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Up higher on the neck typically is going to be softer, lower, more energy. Now, the last thing that you're going to see in my advanced guitar chords covers is I'm always adding melody into my chords. And this is really what I think most people think of whenever they're thinking of advanced, because they're thinking of like almost like finger style sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so let's just take like, I always think of like, what is the easiest lead line to play? I was just playing it earlier. What's the song?
Oh, it was either How He Loves or
How He Loves.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
How He Loves is like a 4-note lead line. So
love it.
So let's use that to see how, most people when they're playing How He Loves on acoustic, we're playing C, D minor. To F. I don't know, I'm probably playing the wrong rhythm there, which was actually one of our horror stuff.
That was the horror story. Start playing 4/4 when you
Yeah,
play
yeah.
6/8. But I think there's also an online debate is it that song? Whether that song's in 6/8 or 4/5.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? People debate about anything.
So what's the lead line? As right? So something like that. So the question is, how do we get that lead line into our chords? Because when I'm playing it on solo acoustic, I want that lead line in there, or else it's just going to sound like...
Yeah.
And then people are like bored while you're playing those instrumentals with no instrumental actually going on.
Right.
So we learn the lead line first. Where's our lead line? E to G. And guess what? You play that 4 more times, or 3 more times. So now all we have to do is visualize that lead line in here. So we've got, let's just strum one thing at a time. Right? So there's your top note. Yep. And then we take that finger off. And then we got to kind of pick this 2nd fret of the D string. Because we're already holding it down. So some of it is like emphasizing it with your hands, strumming it. So it's like...
Oh, those were the chords.
Yeah. So try that.
Ready?
Yeah. There you go.
I'll practice.
There you go. And like now, if you're playing electric, you're probably not going to do that too much. Right. This is more of an acoustic specific thing, but I could see like that helping you out if you're playing, I don't know, like I'm not on electric right now, but if you're playing something like up here where it's like, we're still like, I'm playing like the top of an E chord here.
Right.
But because I would be on electric and have effects going, like I don't want it to be that muddy with all 6 strings going.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you just find, you take like the notes of the scale. So I'm in the key of E, so it would be like, right, like there's some notes.
Yeah.
So you just add in the notes from the scale.
That was
Nailed it.
That was a jazz chord.
Yes.
Jazz note. Yes.
So what did we cover? We talked about bass notes, just taking, and more so than that, like taking the top of a chord shape and just chopping off the bottom and moving the bass note around, and you'll get some crazy chords from that. Yeah. And you might have to move a few other notes around,
like when we had to slide back that one
for the D. For the D, and then we talked about the different dynamics. Lots of energy down here, not so much up here. And then we talked about adding lead lines to your playing, just figuring out the lead line first and then visualizing it within the chord shapes and thinking, how can I hit the necessary notes by still holding that C chord, but playing, if I need to take a finger off to hit a B note in the lead line, then I'm going to do that, and this is still a C chord, but it kind of turns into a C major 7 chord, but who cares? I call it a C chord.
Yeah. That's the most helpful for me, because the other stuff is, translate to electric pretty well, but I do often do like acoustic sets, and I just rely on strumming because I have never thought about adding the melody to my strumming. So I'll work on it. That sounds fun.
Yes, I do that all the time, and it is fun. Yeah. Like, this isn't supposed to be like, you're not supposed to be sitting there like scrunching your face up. It's like, no, it's gonna sound cool when I add the melody of the song or the lead line to the chords.
And ultimately, I think it helps people learn the song or help them sing more. So that's another benefit other than just making it sound cool. I feel like adding that melody helps them to internalize the song better.
So if you want to see more firm examples of that, I've got like 100 advanced guitar chord tutorials on my channel, which Jimmy will link below. Yep. And if you want to get started right now, today, figuring out some more of these advanced guitar chords, I've got something for you. It's called the 25 Advanced Guitar Chords PDF.
Nice.
In that, I have chord diagrams of some of these crazier chords, probably some that I didn't even show in this video, but what I consider advanced guitar chords that you can literally just swap out. Like if you've been playing a G like this your whole life, you can start playing it like this, you can play 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 it like this. Should I keep going? See all these G chords. I don't know if I have all of those in the 25 guitar chord PDF, but I've got a lot of substitutes for you. So if you're interested in more about this concept, check out the free PDF in the description below, and then also check out all of the tutorials that I put out over the past 2 years.
Yeah, and if I didn't say this, it's Leading Worship Well, so go check it out. Appreciate you coming on here, man. This is good. Challenging. Good. See if y'all recognize. Make sure you subscribe so you see future videos and see if I implement this or not.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, don't forget to check out the Expanse pack down below, and we will see you guys in the next video. At least I will. He'll see you over in his channel. All right, bye.